Section 478. Deleted. Good evening. Now, as for Rupert's upset Saturday, it was caused by a fear of fear. He became so aware of fear's destructive energies that he panicked, thinking there was no way to keep fear away. It was quite beneficial that he spoke to you about the brief depression, for this helped relieve it. And your reassurance helped rouse his confidence. He was frightened at the amount of negative thought that he encountered in himself and recognized. Now, you are not actively to seek out negative thoughts, but to find positive ones. Otherwise, you concentrate upon the feared result rather than the desired one. The negative thoughts can and should be recognized and plugged up as they are encountered. But you do not need a shovel to plug up one weed at a time, nor hit yourself over the head with a sledgehammer for finding a weed in your garden. This does little to help the gardener, but put him out of commission for a while, and it does not plug any more weeds. In other words, negative thoughts can be recognized and plucked out with no more rancor than you would plug out weeds in a garden. There is no need blaming yourself that in the past you allowed the weeds to grow. Sometimes in your ignorance imagine them to be flowers. Your job now is simply to remove them, and as you remove each one easily, to drop a seed of positive thought to replace it. A few fond prayers, such as you have been doing, are fine, but a watched kettle, if you will forgive the mixed metaphors, does not boil. Let the subconscious bring the seed to fruition. It does not need to be watered with tears, with pledges, or told 10 times a minute to grow. These things put a shadow over the seed. Fear of any kind, including fear of fear, is destructive. A negative thought gains in power to the extent that you fear it, and you had better underline that whole sentence. A better attitude is, well, there is a negative thought. Let's get rid of it. Now, mentally have Rupert pretend it is simply a weed, and mentally throw it over his shoulder after he has plucked it from the seed of his consciousness. Now, we will throw in something better. Even the word peace will do. He need not go about at the time searching for an antidote, you see. Those aren't the kind of thoughts I want. That mental statement is a help. If the negative mood persists a while, he should not think, oh now, this will be reflected in symptoms. What can I do? This adds more negative connotations. He should instead think, well, this will pass, and I let it pass. Minimize its importance, if necessary, rather than overstate a projected negative reaction to an already negative mood. Now, tell him he has learned, for in the past he would have allowed this to continue, and he did not. You help him plug out the mood. The whole idea is not fear of the symptoms that you have. He must not build them up by comparing them with the state of health that he desires. This builds up the wrong end of the equation. Instead, imagine the desired result, the health. And his methods in psychocybernetics do serve him very well in that regard, firing his imagination. One of the main problems, however, is any undue emphasis on the problem. The emphasis should be on the solution as already being known and being realized. One of the gravest errors he makes is thinking how far from health I am, when he compares what he wants to present physical conditions. Then self-pity enters in. I will give you a prime example, and it is one of the reasons why difficulties are sometimes encountered on weekends. Often the situation when the two of you plan to go downtown in the morning. The night before he worries, and often consciously, that he will not be in good condition, and imaginatively then as a result, sees himself in poor condition. Because of the force of the imagination, this does sometimes then occur. Then he compares your health and vitality to his condition, and imagines you are impatient with him, since he quite literally drags his feet. He drags his feet because he does not want to go, because he is afraid that he will be in the poor condition that his imagination has gotten him into. The more urgently you want to make the trip, you see, the better he wants to feel, to make it with you. His mistake has been in letting his imagination work against him, thwarting his desire, rather than for him. His mental attitude should be, of course, I can feel fine in the morning, and instead of imagining himself dragging down the stairs, he should playfully imagine himself ahead of you, as if he were playing a game. The pity of the world's present situation is that the methods people use often to achieve their desires are those specific methods that will bring them the opposite. Now, I have mentioned this because neither of you realized it. Rupert was furious in the store and felt abandoned. He was furious at himself, however, not you, that he could not follow you quickly enough. He was angry at the sales girl, whom he likes, for he remarked about his weight, and he was sore at himself for being sore in body. Now, I have given you suggestions that will work to clear up the difficulties I have named. In the overall with your methods, he is doing well. The specifics showed their results, and as more specifics arise, if they do, I will mention them. On occasion only, there is some difficulty with the grocery store, and he suspects this. He berates himself for not being able to help you more in the carrying of the bags, and in any ordinary chores with which he would nobly assist you. This includes the carrying of the wash. You forget how conscientious he is toward you. Your assistance here will be of help. Remarks such as "Soon I'll let you carry all the bags," or "Soon you can carry them all," will help. It is also good to remind him that he carried the bags for you when you were ill, and that you regained your strength, and that he is regaining his strength. The problem is obviously distressing, but help is not to be found by discussing its distressing aspects. It does not serve as an impasse any longer, now that the problem has been faced. Now, concentration should be upon the desired solution. He must not grit his teeth and think, "I will get better." Both of you should look for and mention any new freedoms. A feeling of expectancy on both of your parts will be of great benefit, and must in fact be a part of your prayer activities. Now, generally, he has made strides, particularly in the morning. He should not spend any day entirely inside, as you know. He should imaginatively see himself using his body properly, for these thoughts alone activate it. But the whole idea should be, I am free to clean the cupboards, to get down on my knees, to get up. Feelings of mobility are highly important. Now, out of mercy for your fingers, you may take a break. I presume you need one. Rob said, I guess so. Rob noted, during break, I made several remarks about the poor quality of the pen. I was trying to make notes with, and of our difficulties lately finding the branched pen we had been used to using, and which worked so well. I intended to add more to my remarks, but Seth broke in at 9:58. They said, now, by such a statement, you effectively made sure that you will not find the pen you want, and it is a small example of the use of the wrong method. Rob said, I expect to find one in another store, though this is what I had intended adding to my statements. They said, the remark what you just made was the kind of a remark that put an impediment between the desired end and the. Rob noted, here the pace was too fast for a couple of sentences. Here, again, Seth refers to my remarks at break. They said, instead, you should see the pen you want in your mind. Know that you will have a steady supply of them. Recognize the statement you just made as leading away from your desire and replacing it with a statement like the one you just made. I know I will find a store that carries the type of pen I desire. This is a small illustration, but a good one. You should study it, for it applies to everything and any desire. You have within you a ready-made method of achieving desire, positive visualization, positive imagination, and confidence. Negative visualization, negative imagination, and the feeling that the result will not be achieved leads to the opposite of your desire. There is no other way, no answer. To affirm is to receive. To deny is to lose. Now, there have been some definite accomplishments since your prayer period, and if you had the proper attitude of expectancy in the beginning, both of you would have added gratitude in your prayers for what has been received. The overall condition is looser. The spirits almost immediately began to revive, outside of the few arrows. The arms have dropped down once again from the very uptight position they held at the beginning of your venture. The aching and the pain has disappeared, and the soreness is beginning to disappear. Do you want a break while you look for a proper pen? Rob said, no. They said, to some extent, you have still been concentrating upon the symptoms that remain, hardly noting those that have been relieved. This could have a tendency to undermine your confidence. Here, I am pointing out adjustments to be made, but I do not mean to say that you have not been meeting with success. With these adjustments made, there will be a very noticeable change for the better and an acceleration of healing. Your apartment hunting ventures have added to a sense of freedom on both of your parts. Now, apply what I have said tonight about Rubber to yourself. In terms of your desire for abundance in all things, and examine yourself to see what negative attitudes you have that you may not have recognized. Take the pen example and apply it to other things that you want. And remember again, imagination as a valuable tool used correctly. It is your paintbrush with which you form your reality. Do you have questions? Rob said, No, I haven't had a chance to think. I am concentrating on selling paintings. Seth said, This is indeed beneficial. Think of selling them with love, and you must love the people you sell them to. I do not mean a false Pollyanna type love, but you must feel that the paintings will bless them, and that you in turn accept the abundance in terms of money which will return to you. Give me a moment. The idea of the ad, Rob noted, to sell paintings, Seth said, is a good one. There is a reason why you have done nothing about it. For one thing, remembering what you are reading, there are several attitudes that you should change. For a while, you believe them, you work against your desire, and the physical events then seem to prove the attitudes true. Society does not give a hoot about the artist. We could starve for all most people care. People don't want to buy a painting. They would rather buy a TV set. People come in here and look at my paintings, but I don't see them buying any. People don't want to pay good money for paintings. Now, these are merely a few ideas that come to mind, and while you hold them, they form the reality in which you exist physically. Change the ideas around completely, and I tell you, you will sell your paintings. While you hold these ideas, you are telling yourself that your desire cannot become fact. Now, do you have any questions? Rob said, I have been working on those attitudes. Seth said, then I suggest we end the session, although I will answer any questions you have in mind. Rob asked, why did our landlord sell this house? Seth said, give me a moment. 1 point. Not having to do with the sale, he feels that you and Robert have no time for him, since he moved away. Telepathically, he picked up your envy, and it hurts him, because he is afraid of his own driving concern for money and security. This is why he piles you with food and drink when you do see him there. Rob noted at his dine and dance club. Seth said, he is always afraid because he feels lost in this organization. He feels guilty for his daughter's difficulty. He sold the house on the one hand to make money, and on the other hand, he sold it to do penance, because in his own way he loved it. He talked of selling the land and tearing down the terrace as a projected act of self-mutilation, mutilating something that he loved, to do penance for his sin in his sight. He feels driven to do so. He is filled with a great love that he can never fully express, and is gifted with an intuition that he cannot follow, but cannot close out. His intuitional abilities are considerable. It was not because he did not care for the house, but because he did care that he sold it. Now, take your break, or end the session as you prefer. Rob said, well, I guess we'll end it then. Seth said, my heartiest wishes to you both, and a fun good evening. Rob said, good night, Seth.